As I was at the courthouse with my wife, about to finalize our divorce, a few lines of live comments suddenly floated past my eyes. High-stakes drama ahead. Get ready for the groveling arc. Ha ha ha. Can't wait to see the scumbag refuse to sign the divorce papers, then break down in tears and beg the heroine for forgiveness. Make him suffer. He won't sign. He must have come to his senses by now. He knows the truth about how Chloe was framed by his first love, right? Looking at these comments, I just chuckled and then decisively signed the divorce papers. I'm not the actual main character, so why should I have to go through a world of pain to win her back? I've been transported into a book, becoming the paranoid, obsessive male lead from an old-school, melodramatic novel, the one who ends up going through hell to win his wife back, Ethan. Right now, I'm at the courthouse, getting a divorce. A woman is sitting next to me. She's beautiful, but her face is as white as a sheet. She's Chloe, my wife in the legal sense, but not for much longer. In the original novel, we were married for 3 years, during which I acted like a monster, neglecting her, humiliating her, misunderstanding her, and causing her to have a miscarriage. A total piece of trash. But I was also supposedly madly in love with her, driven to extremes by the manipulations of a scheming girl and the provocations of Chloe's own ambiguous male friend. The book described the male lead acting like a self-destructive idiot at first, while the heroine endured endless suffering, and later, the male lead would have a great awakening and begin his agonizing journey to win her back. In the end, the male lead would lose a leg, go bankrupt, and nearly die. The result? The heroine doesn't forgive him, and the male lead is put through the ringer. In a word, miserable. As I was thinking, a few lines of colorful, semi-transparent text suddenly floated before my eyes, slightly obscuring my vision. High-stakes drama ahead. Get ready for the groveling arc. Snap out of it, Ethan. Look at everything Chloe has sacrificed for you. You're done for if you sign. I'll bet you $5 he's about to rip up the divorce agreement and roar, I don't agree. It's a classic scene. Live comments? I got it. They were viewers from another world. They were watching a show, waiting to see me suffer, to see me regret, to see me walk that dead-end road of groveling to get my wife back. I looked at the words and smirked, a corner of my mouth twitching up. A redemption arc from hell? What the hell does that have to do with me? I'm not the original Ethan. Why should I suffer through purgatory for that moron? Broken legs? Bankruptcy? Kneeling and begging for mercy? You've got to be kidding me. Doesn't freedom sound a lot better? My survival instinct kicked in hard. I had to get out of this right now. The clerk pushed the agreement over, placed it in front of me, and pointed to the signature line. Chloe didn't look at me. She kept her head down, staring at the table, her eyes vacant. She was signing her copy, her name written quickly and forcefully, as if she were escaping from something. The pen was right there, so I picked it up. The live comments were still scrolling by, a dense wall of text. His expression is so cold. Is he actually going to sign? No way. He's faking it. He has to be. He's about to blow up, waiting for the big scene. Got my screenshots and screen recorder ready. I didn't even glance at the noisy comments and just grabbed the pen. The tip of the pen glided smoothly across the paper. Then I wrote Ethan without a second thought. My signature was fast and steady, without a hint of hesitation. My hand didn't even shake. After signing, I put the pen down and pushed the document back to the clerk. Done, I said, my voice surprisingly cheerful. The entire room was silent except for the low hum of the air conditioning. The clerk seemed a bit stunned, looking from the agreement to me, and then over to Chloe. They probably hadn't seen such a straightforward divorce, especially from a CEO who was rumored to be so in love with his wife. Chloe had finished signing too. She lifted her head, and her vacant eyes finally met mine. They were no longer just numb. There was something else in them now, shock and utter disbelief. The live comments exploded. Hey, WTF? He signed? He actually signed? This isn't in the script, director. Where's the part where he rips up the papers? What happened to his sudden epiphany? Where's my grovel fest? This isn't what I paid to see. I want a refund. The clerk processed the paperwork quickly and efficiently, handing over 2 red folders. The divorce certificates. It was done. I was emotionally free. I stood up and stretched, noticing Chloe was still seated. She was staring down at the red folder in her hands as if it were a branding iron. Without looking at her, I turned and walked away. My strides were long and hurried, eager to get out of there. The comments were scrolling frantically. He just left? He's really gone? Without a single look back. Where's my redemption arc? Where's the groveling? Did the writer take a lunch break or something? Ethan, you get back here. Come back and get on your knees. Wait a minute, doesn't he seem a little too relieved? Stepping out of the courthouse, the sunlight was blinding. The streets were bustling with traffic, and the air felt much fresher. The driver pulled up in the black luxury sedan, parking it by the curb. I opened the car door and slid in. The leather seats were comfortable. Back to the office? The driver asked. Yeah. I leaned back against the seat and closed my eyes. My head was still throbbing, but the huge weight in my chest was gone. I felt light, more relieved than I ever had before. The car started up and merged into traffic, leaving the courthouse behind. My phone vibrated. I pulled it out to check. The screen lit up, and a name, Sophia, flashed on the display. My first love. The black-hearted villain from the book who framed Chloe, the one responsible for making the original Ethan believe Chloe had miscarried his child. She was also one of the main catalysts for the whole redemption arc. The comments instantly went wild. Here we go. It's the first love calling. She's definitely calling to comfort him. Ethan's totally going to run to her and cry on her shoulder. Let the scumbag and the bitch be together. Just leave our Chloe alone. I looked at the name in disgust. I immediately declined the call, swiped my finger, and dragged her name into the block list. The world instantly felt twice as peaceful. The comments blew up again. Hey, he hung up? And he blocked her? What the hell? What the hell was that? This isn't how the script goes. Ethan, snap out of it. Could he know? Does he know Sophia framed Chloe? So what if he knows? It's too late. He's still a scumbag. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror. Mr. Hayes, that was Miss Sterling. From now on, you are not to mention her name. My voice wasn't loud, but it was ice cold. The driver immediately shut up. Yes, Mr. Hayes. The phone rang again. This time it was my assistant. I answered. Mr. Hayes, is everything finalized? My assistant's voice was cautious, testing the waters. Yes, it's done, I said in a flat tone. Should we arrange for any compensation for Miss Thompson? Not a dime. We stick to the prenup. I cut him off. I remembered the prenup. Chloe had signed it, agreeing to leave with nothing. Because Sophia had claimed Chloe was pregnant with another man's child, the original male lead forced Chloe to have an abortion and then leave with nothing. Have someone pack up her things and throw them out of the Hayes estate. Make sure they don't get sent to the wrong address, and remember to get her keys back. My assistant was clearly taken aback. Understood, Mr. Hayes, but what should I tell the chairman? He's always been very fond of Miss Thompson. The chairman, the original character's father. In the book, he was decent to Chloe. Too bad his son was a piece of crap. He eventually kicked the male lead out of the house without a penny to his name. I'll handle him myself. Now head back to the office. Get all the department heads together for a meeting in 1 hour. I want to see all the latest financial reports and project updates. Everything. If anyone isn't in that conference room in 30 minutes, they can submit their resignation. Yes, Mr. Hayes. I'll arrange it immediately. My assistant's voice became tense, and he hung up. The comments were already flying by in a blur. Is this a divorce or a scorched earth campaign? He's cutting all ties and burning every bridge. Cold-blooded. So damn cold-blooded. Chloe wasted 3 years of her life on him. Blocks Sophia, kicks Chloe to the curb and goes back to work? What the hell has gotten into this guy? Did his business brain just activate? Is he all about the money now? He's completely shredded the redemption arc script. Ha 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 ha, cries while laughing. I arrived at the office and pushed open the door. A figure lunged at me, trailing a cloud of perfume. It was Sophia. Her eyes were red as if she'd been crying, and her voice was cloying. Ethan, why did you block me? What did I do wrong? I sidestepped, avoiding her. She stumbled, having lunged at empty air. Ethan? She turned back to me, her face a mask of hurt and shock. I walked around her and sat down behind my desk. I looked up and said coldly, "Who let you in here? I heard from your assistant that you got divorced. I was worried about you." She tried to get closer. "Get out." "What?" Sophia froze. "Get out of my office. Now." I pointed to the door. "And don't ever come near this place again." The color drained from her face, then flooded back in a rush. "Ethan, how could you?" "Security." I buzzed the intercom. The comments went insane. "Damn, he's ruthless. He's even treating his first love like this. Sophia looks like she's about to be sick. Ha ha ha. That was a brutal shutdown. So satisfying. Did Ethan take the wrong pills this morning? Is he just annoyed with everyone?" Security arrived promptly. Mr. Hayes, please escort Miss Sterling out. From now on, she is not allowed in this building without my express permission. I looked down at my files, refusing to look at her again. Yes, sir. The guard turned to Sophia. Miss Sterling, if you please. Ethan, you're a bastard. I'm never speaking to you again. Sophia shrieked as she was escorted out by security, half walking, half dragged. The office was quiet again. The comments kept scrolling. He really threw her out. Badass. The first love just got demoted to a random extra? This plot is falling apart. This plot twist. I don't get it, but I'm shook. Is the scumbag turning over a new leaf? No, this isn't turning over a new leaf. This is a full-on personality transplant. I ignored the comments. The butler called, telling me my father wanted me to come home immediately. I returned to the Hayes family mansion to find my father sitting on the sofa, his face livid. To my surprise, Chloe was there too. She was standing in the middle of the living room with an open suitcase at her feet, placing a few folded items of clothing inside. She paused at the sound of my footsteps but didn't turn around, continuing what she was doing. When my father saw me, he slammed his hand down on the armrest of the sofa. You bastard! You'd better explain yourself. Dad, you see for yourself. It's finalized. I said, she'll be gone as soon as she's packed. Leave. My father shot to his feet, furious. Who said she could leave? He strode over to Chloe and slammed the lid of her suitcase shut. Chloe, stop that. If anyone's leaving, it's not you. Chloe's hand froze in midair. My father whipped around to face me, his finger nearly poking me in the eye. You're the one who should get out, Ethan. I have no son who is so heartless and blind. The comments exploded once more. Whoa, the old man is a beast. Ethan must be scared witless now. He's about to get on his knees and beg, right? Waiting for the scumbag to break down and beg for forgiveness. My father then turned to comfort Chloe. Chloe, don't go. Ethan has really changed. I just got word that he blocked Sophia and banned her from the company. He still loves you. My father's chest heaved as he spoke. Chloe looked at me with surprise, as if she couldn't comprehend that I would actually block my beloved Sophia for her sake. Seeing my silence, my father said furiously, Ethan, I'm telling you right now, if you dare to go through with this divorce, then you can get the hell out of this house. The Hayes family will have no heir named Ethan. Chloe is a wonderful woman, and you not only failed to cherish her, you tortured her time and again. Without her, you're nothing. He stared at me, as if waiting for me to beg for mercy, to take it all back, to have that great awakening from the book and break down crying on my knees. I looked at him, then I glanced at Chloe. She was looking at me too, her lips pressed into a thin line. The air was stretched taut like a bowstring. I nodded. My voice was calm. Fine. My father froze. Chloe's eyes widened slightly. A fleeting, almost imperceptible flicker of some strange emotion passed through them. Was it complete shock? Or maybe a hint of curiosity? The comments froze for a second, then erupted. What did he say? Fine? He just said, fine? Wait, hold on. Did he get the wrong script? His father told him to get out of the family, and he said, fine? He's lost his mind. Ethan has completely lost his mind. Look at Chloe's face. She didn't see that coming either. Holy crap. Holy crap. What kind of insane plot twist is this? He just took the redemption arc script and set it on fire. He's giving up his family too. My father stood there with his mouth agape, speechless, his face turning beet red. Chloe's gaze was fixed on my face. I didn't look at either of them again. I turned and went upstairs. I went to my room to pack my things. The taste of freedom was so damn refreshing. The comments were still refreshing like crazy. He doesn't want the family fortune? He's giving up his inheritance? All for a divorce. This scumbag has reached a whole new level. He's like, an honorably terrible person? Chloe, I spent 3 years preparing for a tragic, epic romance, and this is it. My world is shattered. I can't read this book anymore. Just then, Chloe stepped in front of me, frowning. She said coolly, Ethan, I'm the one who's leaving, but I need to tell you, the child I lost was yours, not Liam's. I never did anything to betray you. You don't have to play these push and pull games. I won't see you again. I shielded my eyes with my hand, squinting as I smiled. I'll see you off 1,000 miles away. I couldn't have asked for a better promise. There's a company gala tonight, so please, whatever you do, don't show up. Don't let me see you there. Chloe frowned, a flash of anger in her eyes. I looked down, rubbing my fingertips together. If you don't come tonight, Then Liam won't come. I'll make sure Sophia doesn't come. Everything will be perfect. I'm begging you, please, stay away. Chloe looked at me, confused. I'd read the original novel, so of course I knew the cliché plot points. There was a gala tonight where the male lead was supposed to see Chloe arrive with Liam, fly into a jealous rage, and kiss Sophia on the spot, escalating the conflict between the main couple. The male lead would then angrily beat up Liam, causing the heroine to lose all hope in him. Finally, the male lead's father would publicly disinherit him, and he'd be cast out in disgrace. Thus began the agonizing redemption arc. Right now, by telling Chloe not to come, I could prevent all of that from happening. We could part on good terms, and everyone would be happy. But if they dared to show up, they shouldn't blame me for playing dirty. I already had some evidence that wasn't mentioned in the original novel. This feeling of freedom is amazing. Who wants to play your games of love and hate? So boring. No one to chase, no one to grovel for, no plot to be held hostage by. My time, my space, and my future were all my own. Redemption arcs, tragic romances, it's all bullshit. I'm gonna make money, build my career, and live a life of freedom. Just leave me alone. But Chloe, in a rare show of defiance, lifted her head and looked at me stubbornly. I'm going. What right do you have to tell me not to? Just as I expected, the live comments started scrolling like mad. Chloe, listen to him? Hell no, my rebellious phase just started. Title, my ex-husband told me not to go to the gala, so obviously I'm going. Ethan versus Liam. Who will come out on top? Tonight is going to be an absolute train wreck. Can't wait to see Ethan break down and beg for forgiveness. I've read the novel. A massive drama fest is about to go down. If the male lead doesn't end up miserable, I'll eat my hat. They're all insane. I ignored Chloe and the comments, shaking my head as I returned to the office. The conference room was already packed. It was dead silent, with everyone sitting ramrod straight in their chairs. Thick stacks of files covered the table, the projector was on, and the air was thick with tension. Everyone was sneaking glances at me, their expressions a mix of fear and uncertainty. They probably all knew that I'd gotten divorced today and my mood must be terrible. They were all bracing for an explosion. Besides, the old Ethan was an incompetent fool who just barked random orders. I walked to the head of the table and sat down without any preamble. Let's begin, I said. Finance, you're up first. The CFO immediately stood up and began his report, rattling off a stream of numbers. Revenue, profits, costs, cash flow. His voice fast and a little shaky. I listened, my mind automatically analyzing the data. Before I came here, I worked in finance. Reading financial statements is second nature to me. I can spot loopholes, inflated figures, and inconsistencies at a glance. Stop! I cut him off, pointing to a spot on the projection screen. Right here. Third quarter marketing expenses. A 35% year-over-year increase. Explain. Beads of sweat formed on the CFO's forehead. Mr. Hayes, that was for sponsoring several large-scale events and celebrity endorsements. Which celebrities? Where's the endorsement effectiveness report? The ROI data? The event conversion tracking? My voice was quiet, but each word landed like a hammer blow on the table. You can't produce them? Then it was a waste of money. Who approved this budget? You. The CFO's face went pale. It was a recommendation from Miss Sterling, and Director Thompson also thought it was a viable plan. Sophia and Chloe again. A few more comments floated by, accusing me of passing the buck. Chloe is no longer a director here. I stared at him. I divorced her. She has nothing to do with Hayes Corp anymore. And Sophia? Who is she? Since when does an outsider get to call the shots at this company? The room was dead silent. Everyone held their breath. They all knew that I used to hang on Sophia's every word. Ignoring their shocked expressions, I continued coldly. For this expenditure, the finance department failed in its oversight. The manager will forfeit 3 months' bonus. And you, I looked at the CFO. Your year-end bonus is gone. Don't let it happen again. One more time, and you can clear out your desk. The CFO's knees buckled, and he nearly fell, stammering. Yes, Mr. Hayes, I'll launch a full investigation immediately and hold the responsible parties accountable. Next, I turned to the next person. Project management. The West Side development. Why is it 2 months behind schedule? The project manager shot to his feet and began explaining, citing demolition issues and permit delays. I listened, interrupting periodically to ask about key milestones, responsible individuals, and proposed solutions. I was decisive with no wasted words. The atmosphere in the room shifted from panic to a kind of fearful respect. No one dared to slack off or give a half-hearted answer. One by one, they were grilled until they were sweating, but they couldn't help but be impressed. It was like I was a different person. I didn't yell or curse, but I was more intimidating than the hot-tempered man I used to be. My gaze was sharp, my questions were piercing, and every word hit its mark. The tone of the live comments changed too. Holy crap, is he working? Is he actually working? This presence he has is kind of intimidating. His questions are so professional and straight to the point. Is this the same incompetent tyrant who only knew how to solve problems by throwing money and yelling? Was the divorce such a shock that it unlocked his full potential? A man focused on his career is a little scary, but also kind of hot. Shut up. I didn't say that. This comment section is toxic. Don't you dare switch sides. He's a scumbag. But it really seems like he doesn't care about Chloe anymore. He won't even say her name. The meeting went on for 3 solid hours. By the end, everyone looked like they'd been through a battle. They were exhausted, but there was something new in their eyes. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was respect. I stood up. Meeting adjourned. For all the issues raised today, I want solutions on my desk by noon tomorrow. I want to see action items, assigned personnel, and a timeline. If you can't do it, I'll find someone who can. Yes, Mr. Hayes. The response was unusually crisp and loud. I strode out of the conference room, but instead of going to my office, I went straight to my assistant's desk. Find me a new apartment. Downtown. Top-tier security, maximum privacy. I want to move in tonight. As for my things at the Hayes estate, pack up anything useful and send it over. Throw the rest out. My assistant paused for a second. Mr. Hayes, you're not going back to the mansion? That's the Hayes family's house, not mine. And right now, I don't want to live with anyone from the Hayes family. I looked at him. Understand. Understood. My assistant immediately took notes. Get it done right away. One more thing. I added. Change all the passwords, the locks, the entire security system, especially at the mansion. Do a complete sweep. I don't want anyone getting near my property without my permission. Anyone, including the chairman, Chloe, and Sophia? My assistant asked tentatively. Including everyone. I said, my voice firm. Yes, sir. My assistant's reply was sharp. The comments remained in a state of confusion. He's moving out? Cutting ties completely? Is he going out on his own? Becoming a lone wolf? Feels like he's making a big move. I thought I was reading a tragedy. Why is this so satisfying? After making these arrangements, I returned to my spacious office. Beyond the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, the city skyline was bathed in the golden light of the setting sun, which illuminated the dust motes dancing in the air. I walked to the window and watched the traffic and people below. As for the live comments, the colorful text in my vision was still scrolling. What's he doing by the window? Trying to look deep? He regrets it. He must be regretting not trying to get Chloe back. I'll bet you $5 he's about to call Chloe. Classic scumbag move. Playing hard to get. I looked at the scrolling text, smiled to myself, and shook my head. A bunch of losers who can't find fulfillment in the real world, so they come here to feel important. In a word, pathetic. I felt the USB drive my assistant had just given me, then pulled out my phone, scrolled through my contacts to a specific name, and made the call. Mr. Davis. I said into the phone, my voice calm. I need you to set up a personal trust. I want all of my personal assets, property, stocks, investments, everything outside of Hayes Corp, transferred into it. It needs to be managed independently, completely separate from the Hayes family assets. I will be the sole beneficiary. There was a moment of silence on the other end of the line. Then Mr. Davis's voice, now more serious, came through. I understand, Mr. Hayes. I'll handle all the legal necessities to mitigate any risks. I'll have the paperwork delivered to you by 10 tomorrow morning. Good. I hung up. The last golden rays of sunset disappeared behind the skyscrapers, leaving the city lights to glitter like a sea of stars. As I watched the lights, the comments in my vision froze for a second. A trust? Separating his assets? And he's the sole beneficiary? What is he doing? Is this like writing a will? He's playing for keeps, huh? Is he really planning to go it completely alone? Does Chloe know he's locking away all his assets? It's over. The redemption arc? He's not even trying. At the gala, the crystal chandeliers were blinding, and the room was filled with the buzz of conversation. I leaned against a wall in the corner, a glass of champagne in my hand. My eyes scanned the room. Chloe was there, just as I'd expected. Her so-called best friend, Liam, was standing close beside her, the two of them talking. Liam was smiling, looking smug. Chloe's expression was neutral, but she didn't pull away. Across the room, I saw Sophia. She was flitting around like a social butterfly, playing the part of the hostess, but her eyes kept darting in my direction, trying to catch my attention. The comments started flooding my vision right on cue. Holy crap, the whole cast is here. Let the drama begin. Liam is grinning like the cat that ate the canary. Chloe, you're so blind. Sophia is still trying to bait him. That woman has no shame. Ethan's just brooding in the corner? Go do something. The suspense is killing me. Place your bets. How long until Ethan loses his cool? My money's on 5 minutes. Can't wait for Ethan to go ballistic and attack Liam. Fight, fight. Liam saw me. A smirk played on his lips as he put his arm around Chloe's waist and started walking towards me. Chloe's body tensed, and she tried to pull away, but Liam didn't loosen his grip. They stopped in front of me. Liam raised his glass, his voice dripping with false sincerity. Mr. Hayes, I hear you took care of some important business today. Congratulations on your newfound freedom. He shot a pointed look at Chloe. Chloe and I are both very happy for you. Chloe said nothing, just watched me with a complicated expression, her lips pressed together. The comments exploded. Liam is going for a direct attack. Kill him. Ethan, do something. He's using Chloe as a weapon. Poor girl. Ethan's expression is ice cold. Is he planning something big? Sophia sidled up to us. She turned to Liam and Chloe, her voice oozing with fake concern. Mr. Evans, Miss Thompson, I really don't think you should be provoking Ethan right now. He's going through a lot of pain, you know? Liam scoffed. Pain? I think he's just confused. Letting a wonderful wife like Chloe go. Sophia immediately stepped in front of me, as if to protect me. Mr. Evans, please watch what you say. You have no right to talk about Ethan like that. The comments went wild. Oh my God, the manipulative bitch is defending him. This is the drama of the year. Liam is adding fuel to the fire, and Sophia is fanning the flames. They're a perfect match. Ethan, tell them off. Rip them a new one. I'm getting anxious. Why hasn't he snapped yet? This is so out of character. It's over. I think the shock has broken his brain. I looked at the three of them. One instigator, one actress, and one silent observer. It was like watching a circus act. I smiled. I just wanted to focus on my business, but since they were all so eager to self-destruct, I wasn't going to be polite. I took out my phone and tapped the screen a few times. The massive screen in the banquet hall, which had been playing a loop of boring ads, suddenly flickered and changed. It was now showing a hidden camera video. The angle was discreet, but the image was crystal clear. The audio was perfectly clear as well. It was Liam and Sophia. They were in a private booth. The comments froze for a second, then exploded. Oh, the big screen? Holy crap, he's putting it on the big screen. What is he doing? That angle? Is that a hidden camera? Drama alert. Something big is about to happen. This wasn't in the original novel. What's going on? In the video, Liam poured himself a drink and smiled at Sophia. Sophia, that was a brilliant move. Bribing that doctor to insist Chloe's pregnancy was in its early stages, so the timing wouldn't line up with Ethan's business trip. That idiot Ethan actually bought it. Sophia covered her mouth, giggling. He deserved it. It's his own fault for only having eyes for that bitch Chloe. I wanted him to get rid of his own child with his own hands, and then force Chloe out with nothing. I want him to regret it for the rest of his life. And you played your part perfectly, deliberately asking Chloe out to dinner that night. It was foolproof. Liam clinked his glass against hers. A pleasure doing business with you. All I want is Chloe. That blind bastard Ethan lost Chloe and pissed off his own father. The Hayes family will be ruined sooner or later. When that happens, Chloe will have nowhere else to turn but to me. Sophia's eyes glinted with malice. Ethan has to be mine. How dare he reject me? Just wait until he has nothing and comes crawling back to me. I'll show him. As the video played, the entire hall fell silent. Everyone was staring at the screen. They were all dumbfounded. The smile on Liam's face froze, and the color drained from his cheeks. The smugness in his eyes turned to sheer panic. He whipped his head around to look at me as if he'd seen a ghost. Sophia's crocodile tears and hurt expression froze on her face. She stood there, mouth agape, trembling as if her spine had been removed, her eyes wide and unfocused. No, Ethan, listen to me, she stammered, trying to rush forward and stop the video. I shot her a cold look. She froze in place. But the most shocked of all was Chloe. She was staring at the screen, her eyes wide. Her body swayed. The wine glass in her hand slipped and shattered on the floor. It shattered into 1,000 pieces. Red wine splashed onto her white dress like bloodstains. She didn't seem to notice. She just stood there. Her eyes were wide with shock. Her pupils were trembling as if from a violent earthquake. Disbelief, then a vast emptiness. And finally, the slow burn of an icy rage. She slowly, very slowly, turned her head. First, she looked at Liam, who was pale as a ghost and trembling uncontrollably. Then she looked at Sophia, who looked like she was about to collapse, her face a mask of despair. Her lips were trembling. She couldn't form a single word. The comments went absolutely insane. A tidal wave of text. Ah, a nuke. Ethan just dropped a nuke. Holy crap. Holy crap. A plot twist. A massive plot twist. Liam and Sophia, those two bastards. It was them all along. Chloe. Look at Chloe's face. My heart is breaking. Ethan, my man, my God, you are a legend. This move was next level. So when Ethan signed the divorce papers, blocked Sophia, and kicked her out, it was all because he already knew the truth. He's not a scumbag. He was playing the long game. Holy crap, this script is amazing. To everyone who called him a scumbag, I take it all back. Mr. Hayes, you have my respect. The redemption arc just turned into a revenge fantasy. Awesome. Chloe is in shock. Her whole world just fell apart. Liam and the manipulative bitch both look sick. Look at them. They look like they're about to wet themselves. Ha ha ha. That was too much information. My brain is fried. I need a minute. The video finally ended, and the giant screen went black. The hall remained silent enough to hear a pin drop. Everyone was still reeling from the shocking revelation. I set down my untouched champagne and looked at Chloe, who was standing there, stunned, her face paler than a sheet of paper. Her eyes were vacant and filled with pain, as if her soul had been ripped from her body. I spoke, my voice quiet, but in the silent room, it was terrifyingly clear. Did you see that clearly? I asked her. That's the friend you trusted, and the good man you almost married. A cold smirk touched my lips. The child was mine. You didn't do anything to wrong me. They're the ones who wronged you. I gestured to the pale-faced Liam and Sophia. And also, my gaze finally rested on Chloe's ashen face. And you, for never telling me anything. You sacrificed for me, you did so much for me, but you never said a word. You just kept it all inside, stewing in your own melodrama. It's pretentious and sickening. You're guilty too. After saying my piece, I turned my back on all of them. Through hundreds of horrified, curious, and fearful stares, and through the explosive carnival of live comments, I walked through the silent crowd and out of that magnificent but sickening ballroom. Outside, the night air was cool. I took a deep breath. Behind me, I could faintly hear Liam's broken screams and Sophia's shrill sobs, and Chloe's suppressed, broken whimpers. The taste of freedom. It was finally mixed with something else. The truth. The comments were still scrolling frantically in my head, a euphoric rush of text. He went on a rampage. Ethan went on an absolute rampage tonight. From villain to god. All it took was one video. The ball is in Chloe's court now. What's she going to do? Emergency rewrite of the redemption arc script. Mr. Hayes, are you looking for a new girlfriend? Liam and Sophia are socially cancelled. So satisfying. Ethan, go back. Chloe needs you. Screaming. By noon the next day, I had already received the asset separation documents from my lawyer. My phone rang. It was my father again. Hello, Ethan, come home. I know what happened last night. I've asked Chloe to come back. Whether you two can reconcile is up to you. Get back here right now. Clear the air. Apologize to her. You can still be a family. The comments floated by. Ah, the chairman is coming in clutch. Get back together. Chloe's softening up. Go for it, Ethan. The groveling is over. Time to go get remarried. Come home. My voice was flat. Which home? The Hayes estate? Weren't you the one who personally threw me out yesterday? I assume you've already had my name taken off the deed. He was speechless on the other end of the line. The comments started up. Oof, that's a killer question. Ethan holds a grudge. JPG. The old man got shut down. My father took a breath and tried to reason with me. I said that in anger. You're my son. We're family. Everything the Hayes family has is yours. Just come back. Make things right with Chloe. I cut him off. Dad, you're hilarious. Yesterday, for the sake of your precious good daughter-in-law, you pointed your finger in your own son's face, called me heartless and blind, and told me to get out of this house, that the Hayes family has no heir like me. I repeated his words verbatim. Every word was a dagger to the heart. Very powerful. So what happened? One night passes, you find out your good daughter-in-law's miscarriage was the result of a conspiracy, and suddenly your good son isn't so blind anymore. Suddenly we're family again? The inheritance is mine again. This family and inheritance of yours seems to be on a pretty flexible switch, doesn't it? Does it just depend on your mood? The comments rained down. Damn, every word is a critical hit. Is his tongue coated in poison? I bet the old man's pride is stinging right now. He's a master of reverse psychology. My father's breathing was heavy on the other end of the line. He was clearly furious. You ungrateful son. I'm your father. I know, I admitted, which makes you even more interesting. A father who, to protect an outsider daughter-in-law he's only known for a few years, is willing to disown his own son and throw him out of the house without a second thought, without asking for a reason or listening to an explanation, just believing what he wants to believe. Your biased logic is really something. And now that the truth is out, you think you can just wave it all away with a few empty words about it being said in anger or us being family? Dad, you can't unring that bell. The moment you pushed me away, I stopped being a part of the Hayes family. Whether you want to treat Chloe as a daughter or a daughter-in-law, that's your business. Just leave me out of it. I'm doing just fine on my own. The comments. Damn, his logic is flawless. The old man is definitely in the wrong. Ethan, I refuse to be guilt-tripped. He's so clear-headed. I love it. What about Chloe? There was a long silence on the other end. I could hear my father's heavy breathing. Then, someone else took the phone. It was Chloe. Her voice came through, a little hoarse and dry. Ethan, can we talk? In private. The comments went into a frenzy. Chloe's making the first move. Ah, Ethan, say yes. This is your chance. Reconciliation countdown initiated. The groveling is over. Time to head back to the courthouse and get remarried. I scoffed. The sound was clear, carried clearly through the phone. Talk about what? Talk about how pitiful you were for being deceived for 3 years? Talk about how I've finally been vindicated? Talk about how we should cherish each other and put the pieces back together? Chloe, save it. We both signed those papers at the courthouse yesterday. My father was the one who threw me out, and you were the one who stood by and let it happen. In your mind, I'm still the same blind, heartless Ethan who killed your child and tormented you for 3 years. You hated me, you despised me, and you wanted to escape from me. And you weren't wrong to feel that way, because for those 3 years, the person who abused you did, in fact, have my name and my face. Even though it wasn't me. But I've accepted the debt. That's why I signed the papers. That's why I left the Hayes family. I've paid the price I owed. We're even now. Now that the truth is out, you feel wronged, you feel deceived, you feel like you owe me an apology? Don't bother. The person you should be sorry for is the fool Ethan used to be, the one who genuinely loved you but was deceived, misled, and ultimately made a terrible mistake. But unfortunately, you all worked together to destroy him. The person I am now doesn't hate you, but I don't owe you anything either. And I certainly don't need your guilt or your pity. It's like that song says, I'll see you off, 1,000 miles away. I don't deserve your apology. So, let's not talk. My dear ex-wife, I hope you stay far away from scumbags in the future. Goodbye. Or rather, I hope we never see each other again. With that, I hung up without waiting for a response. I blocked my father's number too. The world was finally quiet. The comments completely lost it. Reconciliation failed. A triple rejection from Ethan. He called her my dear ex-wife? So formal. I've accepted the debt. Damn, why is this so tragic? You all worked together to destroy him. Holy crap, that's actually terrifying when you think about it. So he thinks he's a different person. Win her back? Win my ass. Ethan, get away from me. He personally took the redemption arc script and turned it to dust. Chloe must be completely stunned on the other end of the line. I tossed my phone aside. Sunlight streamed onto the floor. It was warm, quiet, and free. There was a satisfying finality to it. The comments were still scrolling. Ethan, you are truly ruthless. I thought the truth would lead to a happy ending, but instead, we got the most definitive bad ending ever. Chloe, who am I supposed to cry to now? This plot, I want to have a word with the writer. Flips table. A few days later. A news alert popped up on my phone. Evan's industry stock had plummeted by 90%. Their core projects were being systematically dismantled by Hayes Corp, and their funding had dried up. Liam was under investigation for commercial fraud and embezzlement. A trove of private photos and recordings of Sophia were leaked, implicating her in blackmail, extortion, and trading favors for influence. The Sterling family went bankrupt, creditors were at their door, and Sophia was diagnosed with a nervous breakdown and committed to a psychiatric hospital. The comments floated by. The chairman strikes. Swift and brutal. Chloe delivered the finishing blow. Precise and ruthless. Liam's gonna jump off a building. Sophia is completely finished. Revenge fantasy mode. Activated. Where's Ethan? Come watch the show. There was a knock on my door. I opened it to find Chloe standing there. Her face was still pale, but her eyes were different. They were no longer vacant or lost. There was something else there. Exhaustion, composure, and something else I couldn't quite place. She wasn't wearing any makeup and was dressed simply. "Can we talk?" she asked. "Not about getting back together." I stepped aside to let her in. The comments started up. "Chloe's here. If not about getting back together, then what?" He actually let her in? Is there a chance? The vibe feels off. She didn't sit down, just stood in the middle of the living room, looking at me. Liam is finished. Sophia is finished too. Dad. The chairman made the move, but I gave him the ammunition. I saw. I poured myself a glass of water and took a sip. "All the evidence has been uncovered," she continued. "The miscarriage, it was Sophia. She bribed the doctor and the maid, forged the pregnancy reports and the call logs. Liam provided the money and the connections, and he deliberately created the appearance of an affair between us while you were on your business trip." "I see." I set down my glass. "We." She paused, seeming to choose her words carefully as she looked at me with a complicated expression. "We were both fools." I raised an eyebrow. "We were kept in the dark, tormenting each other for 3 years. She gave a bitter smile, like 2 puppets on a string, being played by them. "We hated the wrong people and the way we loved was wrong too." The comments. "Chloe gets it now. I feel so bad for these 2 idiots. Just hug her already. Ethan, the truth is out. It's time to make up." I looked at her, and I asked, "So?" She didn't seem to expect my reaction. "So, Chloe." I cut her off. "You're the one who said fools, not me." She froze. "You think we were fools, that we were deceived, that we're pitiful and wronged, and now that the truth is out, we should have a good cry and bury the hatchet?" I took a step closer, and she instinctively took a half step back. "Stop being so dramatic," I said, my voice even. "For the past 3 years, the pain was real, the hurt was real, the miscarriage was real, the divorce was real. Your hatred for me and your desire to escape were real, and my signing those papers and leaving was also real. Now that the truth is out, does that just erase everything that happened over those 3 years? Can you just delete all that pain and suffering? No, it's all still there, like a scar, reminding us of how stupid we were, how easily we were manipulated, how badly we failed." The comments. "Damn, that's cold. But he kind of has a point. Ethan is the sanest man alive." Chloe's eyes are turning red. Chloe's lips parted as if to say something. I didn't give her the chance. "You said we loved each other?" I looked at her, my expression unreadable. "Chloe, are you sure about that? 3 years ago, that blind, heartless Ethan who only knew how to express his possessiveness through cruelty, he loved you. He loved you in a twisted, stupid way that hurt both you and himself. And you, the Chloe who was hurt, deceived, and filled with a desperate need to escape. Are you sure you still loved him then? No, you hated him. You hated him to your very core. Now that Ethan is dead, he was destroyed by all of you, and by himself. The man standing in front of you now is not him. I don't hate you, but I can't say I love you. Towards you, I feel only a slight moral obligation that comes with the title of ex-husband. Or maybe, a final duty to clean up the mess that idiot Ethan left behind. Once that duty is fulfilled, we're even. As for you," I looked at her pale face. "Stop talking about love. It's too abstract. And stop dwelling on who was the fool or who owes what. It's meaningless. Look forward. Live your own life. Your position as the daughter-in-law of the Hayes family is more than enough for you to live well. Don't make love your entire life. Sometimes, it's not as substantial as a hot meal." The comments went wild. "Oh, is this Ethan the philosopher? Love isn't as good as a hot meal?" Chloe, who am I? Where am I? What am I even doing here? This plot, has he become a complete stoic? Win her back? Win my ass. Ethan, I've basically become a monk. He talked her into a stupor. Chloe stood there, stunned. The complex emotions in her eyes were completely replaced by a blank stare. She looked at me, as if she were looking at a stranger. After a long moment, she finally asked, her voice barely a whisper. Then, what do you want now? I smiled. Faint smile. I want to be left alone. 3 meals a day. Peace and quiet. Freedom. And to be far away from all of you and your drama. The farther, the better. The comments. Ultimate goal. To just chill. Ethan, don't love me, it's pointless. Chloe is officially out of the picture. The redemption arc script has been burned to holy ashes. Chloe didn't say another word. She looked at me for a long time. Her eyes held shock, confusion, and lingering pain, but also a flicker of relief. Finally, she nodded without a word. She turned, opened the door, and left. Just like that, the comments. Chloe has given up. It's for the best. Let them both find their own peace. Ethan, thank God she's finally gone. This ending, such a uniquely tragic ending. Title, How the Tragic Male Lead Achieved a State of Total Apathy. Time passed quickly. A year, then 2. I was doing well, very well. When I separated my assets from the Hayes family, my father, in the end, wasn't completely ruthless. The sum I took with me was substantial enough for me to start something new. I never went back to Hayes Corporation. I used the money for investments. I had good luck and a decent eye for opportunities. After a few successful projects, my money doubled and then doubled again. Now, I wasn't short on money, I had free time and I was happy. I no longer got tangled up in love. I was never trapped by romance. My world was simple and my goals were clear. Make money, enjoy life. I did whatever I wanted. Traveling, diving, skiing, or just lying on my balcony, soaking up the sun. I could read a book, sleep in with no one to bother me. It was peaceful, but occasionally at unavoidable events, like industry summits or charity galas, I would run into Chloe. She now held a high position at Hayes Corporation. My father had personally mentored her. She was decisive and tough. She was no longer the pale, vacant-eyed woman she used to be. Now, she was radiant and commanded a powerful presence. The first time we saw each other at a gala, our eyes met across the crowd. She nodded and I nodded back. We passed each other without a word. The second time was at a cocktail party. She walked over with a glass of wine. Long time no see, she said. You too. I raised my glass. I hear you're doing well. Her tone was casual, as if she were talking about the weather. Can't complain. We clinked glasses and went our separate ways. The third time, the fourth, we started running into each other more often, sometimes exchanging a few words. Business, the market, nothing personal, just small talk, like old friends or familiar strangers. The comments would occasionally float by. Ethan is getting hotter. A free man just shines differently. Chloe has transformed too. Total queen. They look so good together. Their energy just matches. It's a shame. What's a shame? Isn't it good that they're both happy on their own? No one ever brought up the past. No one mentioned love. No one mentioned getting back together. We had a silent agreement to move on. We had completely turned the page. At another gala, with its dim lighting, soft music, and buzzing crowd, I was leaning against the bar. I was watching the crowd, my mind blank. Chloe walked over, empty-handed. Got a minute? She asked. Sure, I said. We walked out onto the terrace. The night breeze was cool and refreshing. She leaned against the railing and looked at me for a long time, her expression complicated. It was searching, wistful, and finally, it softened into a small smile. Ethan, she began. Yeah, the man you are now. She paused, as if searching for the right words. He's very charming. She looked at me as she said it, her gaze frank, without any hint of flirtation or probing. It was like she was stating a simple fact. I raised an eyebrow, a little surprised. Is that so? I smiled. Is it the money? No. She shook her head, her expression serious. It's your attitude. My attitude? The fact that you don't care. She looked out at the distant city lights. You don't care about anything. You're not tied down by anything. You're free, clear-headed. You know what you want and what you don't. She turned back to look at me. That's very attractive. Before, she added, her tone neutral. You didn't have that. Before. I smirked. That idiot before was nothing but caring too much and being a mess. She didn't argue. So, I took a sip of my club soda. Now is better. Yes, it is. She didn't say anything else, and I didn't ask how she was, or how my father was, or how Hayes Corp was doing. There was no need. We were both fine on our own, and that was for the best. We stood there for a while longer, until the night wind started to feel a bit cold. Shall we go back in? Okay, she said. We walked back into the ballroom, one after the other, disappearing back into the lights and the noise, like two streams that had briefly merged, only to part again, flowing peacefully toward our own separate futures. A final few comments scrolled across my vision. And that's a wrap. Ethan is living his best life, like the hero of his own story. Chloe is thriving on her own. Long live the queen. This ending was unexpected, but it makes perfect sense. The redemption arc from hell turned into a vacation. Ethan is a legend. Long live freedom. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, Chloe. Goodbye. Stupid plot. Life went on. The sun was bright. The wind was free. I was driving along the coastal highway with no destination, just moving forward. I rolled down the window, and the salty sea breeze rushed in. Felt good on my face. An old song played on the radio, and I hummed along off-key. My mood was like the sky above, vast, bright, and perfectly clear. It was perfect. The end.